Hi, I'm Shaggy. Today is a day I'm going to introduce you to one of my friends who is doing something special. His name is Lian Sutton. He's an Eurasian who has been staying in Penang for a very long time. He's now staying in Singapore and he is sharing a very special art form called Silat Tua. You get a Eurasian guy teaching Malay Silat. I'm interested to find out more about him. And first thing, I'm gonna ask some people about what they think. Let's go. Okay, I'm Asrari. You can call me Ari.
Hello, I'm Hui Er.
I'm John Chow.
My first encounter with Silat, like when I saw Lian,
That was your first encounter with Silat?
yeah, my very first encounter with Silat was when I actually saw Lian do the tari. Is that what it's called? Tari? Yeah, and I thought it was so beautiful and I also want, so.
2016, my friend got married. So I tried to find a teacher willing to teach Silat Pengantin. From then on, I found Peneka Temasek, which is Paman, my guru for now. So I've been practicing with him, and the Silat is called Cimande. It's one of the oldest, or if not the oldest, form of Silat there is in Indonesia.
My background in martial arts, I have a black belt in Aikido. Currently now, I am a Corel belt in Capoeira. I did do some venture into some other martial arts such as Muay Thai and Wing Chun.
Actually, this is like my second session, but then he trained us like last year, I think, or a few years back for quite a while, I think like a month.
I immediately asked my guru about this form of Silat Tua. Then he said, oh, this Silat is well known as well. I agree in for you to go and learn with this person. It's super interesting because he is not a Malay guy. He's very young and he's already teaching others the values in Silat, how it can be applied in modern things like theatre.
I actually am very interested in how theatre and martial arts can come together, as well as dance. So I guess that's what drew me to the Silat Tua sessions.
During this session, you'll be able to see how capable he is.
Silat Tua itself, I mean, it's in the name, it's ancient, it's very old. It is an art that's passed down orally. So there are no books, there are no manuscripts about it. I mean, it's evolved, it's changed. But it's said to have been discovered by hermits who lived out in caves and jungles and then, discovered the art through nature and things like that. But it was popularized in Patani, which is in southern Thailand, but it was a Malay kingdom, and it was constantly under attack by the Buddhists because it's surrounded by predominantly Buddhists, and it was a Muslim kingdom. And so the art needed every single person in the kingdom, in the village, to be able to fight, to be able to defend themselves. Now this meant that the one-armed beggar, the metal smith or whatever, they all had to be able to fight. It wasn't just soldiers were taught how to fight, it was every single person from every single background, which means the art had to work from somewhere very natural. So the art itself, the beauty of the art, is in the fact that it works from how you move your character first. That is the starting point. Then we start to develop it. How do we make your movement efficient? How do we make you understand how to move efficiently with the four limbs that you have, with the brain that you have, with the culture and everything, and your behavior and everything?
I feel that it's very fluid. It's not rigid. It's expressive.
My Silat teacher was in Thailand learning Muay Thai, learning Toe Muay, as the Malays call it. And he was learning Tomoy because he thought Silat was pants. He didn't like Silat. He thought, oh my god, it's all just bunga bunga, you know, it's like pathetic, weak art. And so he was up in southern Thailand somewhere, again I don't know the specifics, and he was learning Muay Thai, and then this old man sees him practicing, knows of him, knows he's the Malay boy in the village, and goes up to him and says, hey you, he speaks to him in Malay, says, you're learning Muay Thai? And he goes, yeah. And he says, why don't you learn Silat? He says, no, Silat is pants, why would I want to do that? So the old man is like, how about this? You come and learn from me. I teach you Silat. And my Silat teacher was like, no man, why would I want to do that? Like, no, I'm here to learn Muay Thai. I can fight with Muay Thai. You know, then the old man was like, no, you can fight with Silat too. And he says, I'll show you. Come on, fight me. So like after some reluctance, my Silat teacher was like, okay, fine, you know what? I'll just give this old man a piece of my mind, a piece of my fist. So he does, they fight, and he gets thrashed. He gets thrown onto the floor. And of course, as part of the promise, he has no choice. He now has to learn from him, and he's more than willing to, because now he's found a reason to believe in Silat. When I was 9, I started doing a style called Silat Melayu Chris Lok Sembilan, which is with Guru Azlan Ghani in KL. He owns a magazine called Seni Baladiri, which is the only martial arts magazine in Malaysia. Then I started really learning, like going into hardcore training when I was 14 with Guru Zainal in Penang. So my father started doing martial arts when he was 13. He did karate first, and like all people of that generation, he was influenced by Bruce Lee. So all of those movies, and then he got enamored by the world of martial arts. So he started learning karate first. Then he moved on to Chinese martial arts as he got older, towards his late teens. Because of karate, there was a book that he read, and it talked about Tai Chi practitioners. And so he then became obsessed with Tai Chi, learnt in the UK, learnt in London from a teacher. Then he met my mum in the UK, came to Malaysia, and eventually stayed on in Malaysia, married my mum, and learnt from all the teachers along the Southeast Asian kind of trail. My name is Lian Sutton, and I'm a freelance actor in Singapore. I grew up learning traditional martial arts, so I have that worldview in me, and wherever I go I bring that worldview, I bring the lessons with me. So when I started drama school, I mean, all I could think about was, oh, I've actually done this before, but in a martial arts class. Oh, I've done this before. You know, the context was different, the end goal was different, but I mean, essentially the practices, some of the stuff that the teachers would talk about, I could just imagine my Silat teacher saying the same thing, you know, just in a different context, that's all. So, I mean, I already came into it realizing these similarities, and then my mind just started working like, well, what if if it's the same, then what if I take this and I put it into this martial arts class, or take this martial arts lesson and I put it into this drama class, you know, what would happen? That would be very interesting, right? And so, like, from the beginning, that spark was already working, and I feel like right now that I've had enough work experience, well, you know, sufficient work experience outside of school, I'm ready to begin this research. And you know, you said that earlier, you said now that I've learned Silat, actually I haven't finished learning. I will never finish learning. For someone like me, I've been learning since I was 14, 10 years, that's a decade. That is child's play in martial arts. That's like I'm a kindergartner in traditional martial arts. It's the same with most traditional arts, you know? 10 years is nothing. 20 years, 30 years, okay, you start to get to middle school, high school. Yeah. One of the things I struggled the most with when I started drama school and I started thinking about, martial arts and how it relates to me and my character and all that stuff, it was very uncomfortable for me to go, I actually did martial arts since I was a kid. It was very uncomfortable because you have to have a lot of humility. You have to, put yourself, especially in the Chinese martial arts community, man. I mean, I remember growing up, my dad, whenever he's invited to an event and people started going, I heard you're a master of martial arts, he would say, no, I'm still learning, no, I'm still learning. It's my father, 10, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years of martial arts experience, will still say, he in Mandarin you say, wan wan er yi, which is, I'm just playing around. oh, I'm just playing around, I just do it in my free time, you know, like, and those who actually do their research and know of him know that he's been learning, he's been teaching for however many years he's been practicing. But yeah, to a certain extent, you will always go, yeah, I'm still a student, I'm a student of life, I'm still a student of this. And then when you teach, that's when you have to put yourself a bit more up there and go, yes, I'm teaching now, but I'm still learning. You still have to, you know, it's always a balance. You can't go around going, you know, I am the teacher of this. You may call me master this. I am this. No, I did my thesis at LaSalle for my BA, and it was about using Silat Tua as an actor, using myself as a subject, whether or not it worked. I split them into 3 categories. So it was the rituals of Silat Tua, the images of Silat Tua, and the charisma, so the presence of Silat Tua. One of the most fascinating things about rituals, you know, waking up and doing our teeth is a ritual, you know, things like that. But this specific style of like buka gelanggang, I'm going to open the arena, I'm going to open the training area, was very powerful for me, because rituals make us feel safe. They make us feel like what we're doing has purpose, and again, it brings us out of ourselves. Something I always tell my students is, it does not matter what religion you have, what faith you have, so long as you have a belief, so long as you have a faith. And the faith isn't like religious faith, it's believing in something that is outside of yourself. That's the most important thing, because when you believe in something outside of yourself, then you can let go of that stuff about your ego and all that kind of stuff. You can really be open enough for anything, for you to transmit anything. And so that was very powerful for me. The ritual opening, the ritual closing of it. Even if you just talk about it in terms of like get rid of kind of the esoteric, the mumbo jumbo stuff. When I buka gelanggang, I go to each corner of the room. Okay, so if this is a new space, I'm already doing something I wouldn't normally do when I walk into any room. I am exploring the corners, the boundaries, the perimeters of the space. Then I perform my tari after setting an attention, after saying a prayer, right? Now this gives me time to feel the floor, feel the air, feel the spaces, go into parts of the room I wouldn't normally, and take command of it. I'm taking control of it. I'm saying, this is me, I'm doing this now, it's not for me, but I am here, I am present, finish, I'm done, okay? As soon as I'm done with the buka gelanggang, I already feel like I know the space a bit better. And this is just through 3 minutes of walking around the room. Other actors do it too. I mean, some veteran actors, you can see them, they come into a space and immediately, you know, sometimes they start, you know, clapping just to see the acoustics, or they walk around, you know, they just touch things or something like that. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's the same thing. I'm just putting it in this context. And because I've done it since I was 14, as soon as I start doing my silat, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm me again. You know, I don't come into the rehearsal room like, okay, I gotta, you know, I still gotta do my warm-up, I gotta prepare. Oh my god, that actor is here, or the director's there. Okay, I'm a bit nervous now, you know. But once I've done my buka gelanggang, I'm ready. Okay, let's work. You know, I know myself, I'm rooted in myself, I'm grounded, I'm ready to go. So that was very important for me. The next part was in the rehearsal room. So, and this is where the images of Silat Tua come to play. So the elements, the archetypes, the animals, these are all building blocks for character. These are all entry points, you know? I mean, they're working from something physical, but they're also working from the imagination from inside, because it's always working from your natural way of moving, right? And so because I've developed it, I've worked on these animals, these archetypes, these elements before, I can add them to a character to add more dynamics. Yeah. And that is something that I still think there's a lot further to go than just these images. There's a lot more. I mean, we're talking about, even if we're talking about Western psychology and stuff like that, we've got, you know, Joseph Campbell's work on archetypes and myths and all that kind of things. Those are very important themes, and they're themes that cross cultures and just it doesn't matter, you know, where you're from. There are these common themes, and I'm trying to look for those, and that's what Silat Tua brings out in people, I think. And then the last one, charisma, presence. Now, this is kind of the most intangible element of a performer, I think. How do you describe someone who has presence? How do you describe, you know, someone who has some fire burning inside? Like, how do you train that? How do you get to that? And that's something that a lot of companies, a lot of people are still trying to figure out. But I believe it came through doing the tari. It came through exploring these images. It comes through connecting mind, body and spirit. When you all connected in that one balance, bam, you're present, you're in that moment, and that is something that is very very interesting, you know, very interesting to watch. So yeah, those were the three things I categorized in my thesis when I was at LaSalle.
So I've learned that it is okay to express oneself uniquely, individually. You don't have to be bounded by certain set of rules within Silat. He took one very special element in Silat, which is an individual unique character of each individual pesilat, and focus on it and want to grow it. So if you guys are gonna catch his other sessions, you'll be able to express your own self. So Silat Tua is not, it will be your version of Silat Tua, and not you subscribing to Silat Tua and doing whatever that he's doing, whatever that his father taught him or his guru taught him. So that's what I've learned. It's to express oneself, and I like that a lot.
When I go to rehearse for a particular production, now it depends on the type of the production and what the production asks for. So if I'm in a very physically demanding kind of, I know it's going to be something that requires me to be very present in the body as much as in the mind, then that changes the intention of my tari, that changes the intention of my buka gelanggang as well. So I try and accommodate that for whatever the rehearsal room needs. So when I go into the rehearsal room, I open the space as I would, and then once I've opened it, once I've said my prayer, once I've done the tari, that's when I do the warm-up that I need as an actor. So like, if I'm not done physically, then I'll do a few more stretches. If I need to warm up my voice, then I'll warm up my voice. And then I go through the rehearsal, I go through it, and not necessarily in the rehearsal room at the time, because maybe we're doing blocking or whatever, but certainly when I start thinking about the character, and I start thinking about the kind of the way the character moves, the gait, the speaking, the voice, that kind of thing, that's when I start to draw on, say, the images, like the elements. Or is this a very grounded character? I mean, again, I'm talking like we go from a very cerebral kind of point of view, something that's very intellectual. We're thinking, this person, everything he says is direct, everything he says is quick, but he's probably fire, he's probably something very passionate kind of person. But this line is kind of water, or this line is kind of this, and then I try and merge them. I try and merge the lines with the movement, so movement of my body. As I start to learn the lines, then I start to maybe do a tari with the lines, as I'm going. So if I have a monologue, and this also ensures that I learn the monologue really well, because if there's a point in time where I'm doing my tari and the tari's going nice, but I've lost what I'm saying, then I know that I've got to connect it back to the body. I know that this movement may work with this.
So you're doing that as you memorize your lines, or you do that in the rehearsal space with everyone?
Oh no, definitely not in the rehearsal space. I mean, this kind of work is homework.
This is your actor's
homework.
This
is the actor's homework. Yeah. So this is what I'm exploring, and a lot of it is up in the air. A lot of it is I try what I feel works. So if there are certain characters where I'm like, you know what, these elements just not working, or these animals are just not working, this archetype's just not working, then I have to find a different entry point. But I always go back to the movement. I always go back to the tari, because that is the essence of Silat Tua, and that is what grounds me. So, I mean, there are two ways of seeing it. There's the way where it's the actor prepares, and it's the actor building the character. So, do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I could practice Silat Tua as only an actor method of preparation, in which case it's just a physical warm-up, connecting my imagination to my body, you know, opening the space, all that kind of stuff. I can neglect completely the building of character. The building of character is just, we're playing with images, stuff that people have done, you know, for years. Lecoq or you know, Stanislavski obviously, and Maya Holt has been doing it with the body, biomechanics and stuff. So it's, yeah, Laban, animal work, he does animal work, it's the same thing. I'm just putting it in a Silat context.
Going forward with principles from the whatever he learned in the past is something that I really liked about him. It's not too experimental, it has structure to it. And also I really like how he is down to earth. He treats everyone the same. He is not a guru. He's very young, but he doesn't show or he doesn't exert authority. That is something that I like about that.
It's definitely an advantage my father and I have being outsiders of an art, is that we can, I mean, we already see things from a Western point of view because I was brought up that way. My father, you know, is constantly analyzing his art, his practice, the way he thinks. I mean, he thinks like an actor in the sense that he's constantly questioning, you know, like questioning behavior, questioning lessons and things like that. And when you do that, you start to put them into boxes and you start to categorize them and you start to try and explain these things. So, I mean, if you're someone who comes from a background culturally, you're often not taught why you do things. You're just told to do things. And that is the way. And if you don't do it that way, then you're going to get a slap in the back of the head or something. You know, there's very clear consequences. You don't do this, okay, well, you're going to get in trouble. You have to do it. And if you ask why, it's often like frowned upon. Then why are you asking why? But because I'm coming from this point of view, I've thought about it enough to go, okay, you know what? This is the reason, and it's actually good for this, this, and this. And I explain it, so, you know, so that everyone can understand, and then we can put our heart and soul into it.
I think that's the beauty that I get from you, you as an outsider. I'm born a Malay and I was born a Muslim. So a lot of the things that I go through is just the way it is. This is the art. This is the, and if you don't do like you said, get in trouble and or you sin or whatever, or you're not paying homage to your God. You know. But then when I get your perspective, it is you somehow you have the space to question it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, if I was the teacher, I feel the need to explain to you. I need to oblige your questions. And you have that advantage, right? As an outsider. Yeah, that's the beauty of it, I feel. And that's why I like learning from you in this sense.
Like Lian has his own style. For me, how I see it from my own perspective is that he is, as in like his Silat Tua, his own version. He's trying to develop his own methodology and go towards the future. Whereas the thing that I'm subscribing to, which is with Paman, he has his own traditional way of doing things. And we are currently now, or I am currently now, learning all the basic steps. And all those rules we have to follow and we embrace into us. After all that, then we can express ourselves. So both has its pros and cons. For Lian, he will be able to quickly find new expressive movements from each individual student. But from Paman, he'll be able to garner more people to subscribe to Chimande, and from there, if you want to express yourself, you're able to express. But this big entity of Chimande will move towards generation. It will still be there, preserved. So I like both parts to it, because you can't just go expressing yourselves without looking back at history. Then you lose your culture, you lose your identity. But you also can't keep on preserving. Then you'll be a backward society. So that's what I like between both Paman or both Chimande as well as Silat Tua, or Lian's version of Silat Tua.
Well, it is completely not rigid at all. I mean, the art, like I mentioned before, works from your natural movement. It is Tari based, which means it is based, I mean, all of its principles are always applied into and come from the dance, the improvised movement that you create. And I'm in a tough spot at the minute, at the moment, or the way I'm teaching and all that stuff, because the art was taught to me in a way where it was very, very free, much more free than I am teaching it now. Like, if you think I'm free, I'm actually putting a lot of rules into play, because the art is actually quite a high level art, in the sense that everywhere, in all senses, because it helps you can progress a lot quicker in the art if you've already mastered a different martial art, something that your body already understands, because then you have a frame of you have a frame to work with. Whereas in Silat Tua, when you have there are no boundaries almost, and when there are no boundaries like that, it is very hard for someone who doesn't have any sort of martial arts background to go, oh, well then what is the purpose of the movement? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? What is the reason for this? Whereas someone who's done a lot of martial arts, you come into it, you go, this is the bee's knees. This is like some deep philosophical art, you know, like this is the essence of everything. I mean, I could take Silat Tua and apply it to any other martial art. And it's the same, once you get deep enough into any art, you can say the same for that art and the rest of the world. So so it's one of those things. It's very free, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to codify it. I'm trying to pin it down to a few things, to these things, to help people who have no martial arts background, people who come from a completely different background, who are artists or whatever, to familiarize themselves with what is Silat Tua and how it can help them as an artist. So not only am I linking it, I'm trying to pin it down. Now, I was taught that I was taught a style of Silat, all right, maybe a different style, and another student was taught the same style. There was the same name, but we both come together and we confer and we say, okay, show me, let's practice together, and we'll do the same form, and they're both completely different, because the teacher gives you what you need. And that is the beauty of the art. And that is also why it's so hard to transmit, because with that master-disciple relationship, I'm so close to you that I understand what your body needs. I know how you move already. I'm gonna give you this form. This form is exclusively for you, and it's gonna be this way. And then I'm gonna give this form to another person, and it's gonna work with them. So now I'm trying to codify it into everyone's doing the same kind of form, which means I may lose some things. And that is kind of what is both exciting and very scary about what I'm intending to do, what I'm researching, you know? But it evolves.
So if you say, in other words, the starting point of Silat Tua is the individual,
Yeah,
not the form. 'Cause
always.
in my biased perception of what a martial art or Silat in this case should be, is that you come to learn something. It's not that you come to learn more about yourself. You come to learn this form, and you come to learn this art. But you're saying that Silat Tua, a proper teacher would look at you first and decide on what works for you.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll describe to you my first lesson with Guru Zaino, Abang Zaino, is he told me to just do a tari. I had no idea what I was doing. He just said, okay, yeah. I copied what I saw before. Yeah. I mean, and it was very, I can't stress to you how informal it was. It was, you saw my status update. He came in, I was his place, jeans and a shirt. He'd sometimes be smoking while I was practicing. And he'd just teach me, and he'd just like come in, like do this. I mean, I asked
in the beginning, my parents asked him, what should Lian call you? Should he call you Guru Zaino? Should he call you this? That? And he said, just call me Uncle lah. So I called him Uncle Zaino. I still call him Uncle Zaino when I see him. And he told me to do Tari, and I just flipped my, and then he said, okay, right. Then he moved on. Next thing, we're gonna work on this. Now I can't remember what the hell we worked on when I was 14, but I can remember being shit scared of. Sorry, can I swear?
Yeah.
Of just doing a Tari, of like just randomly be like, okay, let's do a Tari, and like it's the first lesson. So then he watches that. And then he goes, okay, what does this person need? What does this, I'm gonna teach you this form, and you move like this, so I'm gonna develop it. I'm apparently move like a snake. So he then went on to teach me to develop my own snake style of Silat. And all of that is Silat Tua.
That's a very contemporary approach to
Oh
martial art.
yeah, and yet the name, Silat Tua. So yeah, it's crazy.
I when I came into it, right, I expected it to be like Silat Tua, the legendary form of Silat, where you will learn
Yeah.
the legendary form. But as I come into it, because of the origin, actually, since you told me the story of the origin, because of the origin, it wasn't created with perfection in mind. It was created with, I need to arm these people with skills, and therefore I need to suit my teaching to each of these individuals.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, what is important to understand is that it, with the symbol of Silat Tua is the lotus flower, because of the story of the. So I'll just tell the story. Yeah. So it started off with this warrior who was in a battle, a big battle. He was on the losing side. You know, he was hurt, injured. He was fleeing the battleground. He went into the jungle and stumbled, didn't know where he was going until he found a stream. And the stream, he drank some water and he followed the stream. The stream led him to a river into this kind of flowing, a bit raging, and then he found himself at a waterfall, this big waterfall. So he sat by the waterfall and he's like, you know, just kind of trying to clean himself up. And then he sees at the top of the waterfall a lotus flower, and the lotus flower drops all the way down and sinks, and it's crashed and it's thrashing about, and he thought that's the end of the lotus flower. Lotus flower pops back up and he sees it going down. And again the water keeps thrashing down, the lotus flower keeps going down, keeps getting ducked under the water and then coming back up again. And he starts to get curious. He's like, what is it? Is it indestructible lotus flower? He grabs a stone, he throws it at the lotus flower and it hits, and that's it. That's the end of the lotus flower. And then it pops back up again. Then he starts to get really, really angry, really frustrated. He throws bigger rocks. Same thing happens. He grabs his sword out. He runs into the water, stomping, trying furiously, slashing, hacking away at this lotus flower, which just kept bobbing and weaving and sinking and floating back up again until it went away. And exhausted, he falls back into the plateau, the riverbanks, and there he starts to meditate on the lotus flower. He starts to think about it, and that's where he realizes that there is value in the soft overcoming the hard, the weakness overcoming the strength. So that is why Silat Tua always constantly works in from a point of view of weakness, from weakness. Yeah. So it always looks like, oh, it's girly art, I'm moving around. It's like, the art is most lethal when people underestimate it. So it's absolutely fine for me to feign weakness constantly, for me to play that, and because of that you don't have the pressure of being the strongest, fastest, bestest martial artist. You know, like, no, it's about the smartest. It always has been.
And also about survival.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is that it is the art of survival. And the art of fulfilling one's full potential. And because you said survival, the stakes are very high. Because it comes from the mud, it comes from where does a lotus flower grow from? Where do flowers grow from? Where do amazing things grow? They grow from the earth, they grow from shit, from manure. From the worst, disgusting things comes the beautiful things. And that's why we have to constantly go back and forth between it. And if we think about it in terms of martial art, in terms of my class, right? The beauty is in the movement, the openness, all of this stuff, right? But to make the beauty worth it, to make the beauty mean something, we have to go back to the shit, which is the fighting, which is the violence. Because this art, in the end, it is a martial art. It is, someone is there, he's opposite me, he wants to kill me, and because of that, I have to act. And because it's from that shit, from that, the worst of the worst, from that violence, from that, then you get something beautiful. Then you get the art. So the art must constantly go back to the violence, and the violence must always strive to become the art. Do you understand? So it's like it's like a duality, dichotomy. It's a balance.
Yeah, you can't run away from that with everything that we do.
Yeah, because you lose it. If you lose the violence, you lose the point of the art. If you lose the art and it's only violence, then there's no point to it. It's just destruction. Yeah.
I actually apply that to the work that I do, which is my business. Like there is the business side of it and there is the purpose side of it. Because if you go full business, you always forget that you tend to be very industrious, you tend to be more money focused, and if you're all about the money, you tend to forget the finer things. And actually those finer things are the ones that bring you work, that bring you the clients that actually give you money in the first place. So I don't know, something about your philosophy that I apply to a lot of aspects of the work that I do lah. So talking about work that you do and the groups that you're involved in, the next question I have is maybe you can share with me about Dark Matter Theatrics.
Okay, so Dark Matter Theatrics is an art collective, so there's 3 of us. It's me, Marcia van der Straten and Christopher Fogg. Both of them are playwrights and directors in their own right, and I'm the only odd one out loud, the actor. We met in doing a production in 2014. They approached me to do it, and then ever since then we found that something clicked, and so we've been working together ever since. I mean, we're very small, we have no money, we're just very ambitious. We do original works, so they write, I act occasionally, and we kind of produce our own stuff. Then we started talking and we set up Dark Matter, and we thought, you know, like there are things I want to do with Silat Tua. There are things Chris wants to do with his presence work that he's developing. And we thought, you know, let's set up an experimental theatre wing. Let's set up these jamming sessions where we can just invite people in. It's always free, donations are welcome, and we just use it as a platform to research things about theatre that we're interested in. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a lecture, it can be a workshop, it can be whatever. And so we decided to call it the Collider, which is named after the Hadron Collider, which you know, spins around and gathers all this information. So that's what we hope to do. We hope to spin around the globe and gather all this information. And so I've been. This session coming out will be my 3rd, and I'm hoping to run it bi-monthly. You know, and keep. My intention is to keep trying to codify it, keep trying to pin it down, whilst experimenting, whilst keep making connections and working with people. I mean, my main intention is just to become a better teacher at this point, because I think that the art is there, the content is there. I just need to be a better curator, a better director, a better teacher to put all these things and help guide the people that I believe can benefit a lot from in this art.
Are you planning to teach Silat as an actual Silat teacher, or?
Well, that's what I'm doing. That's exactly how I feel. What I'm doing right now.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But when I say that, I'm meaning like a dojo kind of thing.
Oh.
No lah.
Yeah. Well, again, I still think that that's exactly what I'm doing. They're one and the same. I don't see a difference really. Well, what do you mean by that then?
Oh,
you mean
what
like,
I mean is like, actually yeah, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, take it to the level where you can charge people $30 a session, that kind of thing. Like that's my business.
Oh yeah,
that's my business head talking.
No, totally. I mean, I tried to do that before. It hasn't worked because I don't have students and stuff like that. No. I did, and I still teach whenever I go back to Malaysia. When I go back,
when you go back to Malaysia, you go and teach.
Well, yeah, my mom has a bunch of students that occasionally want to do stuff, and then I will curate it for whatever they want to do.
I don't know.
No, it's fine. And yeah, I mean, I struggle with this too, like charging people, because I'm like, the art has so much value to me. To me, it's gold. You know, people should be paying money for it. But then again, I see my Silat teacher who his students are some of the best students he has. Actually, a handful of them have no money. They pay him with cigarettes and cup of coffee. And I'm like, well, the art doesn't belong to me. It belongs to everybody. And as soon as I saw that, and this the only way I saw it was with talking to my dad. I said, shouldn't I be charging for this? Like, people should be paying money for this. This is good stuff. He said, yeah, you believe in it, but look at your teacher. Look at Uncle Zaino. Look at what he's doing, and he's spreading the knowledge to someone who just really wants it but cannot afford it. So it is his. He gives it away. Recently, my Silat teacher got ill, and he was in a hospital, and a lot of other Silat practitioners from different arts came to him and said, look, we have to have this conversation. Who's your successor? Who's your next in line? You know? And then he just said very fervently, he said, you know, the fact that you guys asked this means you do not understand Silat Tua. Silat Tua passes down to whoever, every single person I've taught it to, it's theirs. It's part of their lineage. And it goes back up. So everyone who has ever learned Silat Tua, the lineage passes to them. It doesn't come from one family. It doesn't come from this particular person. It's spread out. So what I'm doing now, translating Silat Tua into a theatrical context, trying to train actors, that is Silat Tua. What my Silat teacher does up in Penang, teaching Silat Tua for fighting, for these Muay Thai kids, that is Silat Tua. What my dad does, putting Silat Tua and teaching it to his Tai Chi students and calling it Tai Chi, that is Silat Tua. You know, like, it doesn't matter. The names are irrelevant. Half of my lessons here are stuff I've stolen from other martial arts too. I would say it plainly, but that is Silat Tua. So it doesn't matter. It's all Silat Tua. Yeah.
It's a very liberal approach towards martial
yeah,
arts.
I mean, a lot of traditional martial artists would hang me for it. They would say, no, that's not real Silat. No, and that's fine. Let them say that, because what they're doing, that is Silat Tua. so I mean, it doesn't matter to me. But yeah, so
it doesn't matter to you what people think.
yeah, well,
It's very liberal.
It is very
approach.
liberal, and it is freeing, because then I'm like, I mean, yeah, someone can come into the class and go like, why is this? This is Silat. This is not Silat. I'm like, okay, it's not Silat. Then call it whatever you want, but the lesson's still there. You still, hopefully, you get something from it. You know?
The name is almost like an excuse for you to just market it,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I mean,
Because it's like
no.
a lot of artists, when you make them codify. Oh no, when you make them like talk about genres, for example, you're just telling them to, okay, what genre are you doing? Just for the fact
that we can then market it in that sense.
to not just marketing, communicating.
Yeah. So you can explain it. Well, the thing is, I mean, when I started doing this, I mean, a few months ago, or whatever, I asked my dad to ask my Silat teacher, like, is it okay if I do this? If I use Silat Tua, if I use the name of Silat Tua, if I use that. And when I asked this already, I kind of felt stupid, because I know what my Silat teacher would say. But I have to you have to go through these channels. So my dad went to meet him, and he said, yeah, of course you can. I mean, I was more than willing to change the name. But I knew that it would never come to that, because the point of the art, the lessons within the art, already says that it doesn't matter, that we're just saying this to so that our tiny human mind can comprehend, can put a name to something, you know? Yeah.
You know, that's hard for someone to accept. It's very hard.
Oh yeah. And it'll be very hard for any other, which is very hard for any other Silat or traditional Silat practitioner to accept.
Yeah.
Well,
that's-
only traditional art, yeah.
I like that, because the thing about traditional art forms is that people always try to preserve it. Not just art forms, maybe culinary arts as well, like our hawker food. People always try to preserve it. But I believe that whatever tradition that we have today came from a point of innovation as well.
Yeah.
As much as it is a tradition today.
Oh yeah.
So I always thought that this was the right way to approach anything, any art form.
Well,
but to hear it from you, and then it's like, oh, mind blown. Especially to apply it to Silat. Because I never in my life would I imagine that Silat would be practiced and taught even by your guru, Uncle Zainul, right? In a very liberal way, you know. Yeah, so that's something that is surprising for me.
He's always said that you know, one day this art will be something that if the Malay people or if any people of the Nusantara wanted to learn, they'd have to go to the West to learn, you know, because it's right now being picked up so much by people, outsiders, because they see the value in it, because they see, you know, because they really want to, they're more willing to dedicate themselves to, and we're always looking for the other. So, you know, it's always going to be expanding. I accept completely, and I'm very happy to say that my style of teaching Silat, my style of Silat will die with me. That hopefully by the time I pass, the people who are practicing the style of Silat Tua, the Silat Tua that I gave to them, they will be taking it, they will be making it their own, and they will be teaching it for their own purposes, and it will carry on, and it will become something completely different, and it will just, because think about it, it's made it this far and there's so much gold. Can you imagine where it's gonna go? We can't be progressing backwards.
So in other words, you're gonna teach this till you die, lah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be practicing it till I die, teaching it till I die. It's so much
It's
a part
hard for
of
me to fathom this, because I have no background in martial art. I can't imagine
having
someone,
something that, well, I mean,
Yeah.
think about it as putting on your clothes. Like you wouldn't start walking around naked. I mean, right? So like I wouldn't stop practicing this. It's just something that is part of me.
It's true. I saw your post on Facebook saying that you don't have to come in Silat regalia, you just come in as you are.
Yeah.
So maybe you can start from that point.
Well, I think it was also because I had a recent. I've done a couple of interviews already about it, and people always ask me, you know, like why do you have the you know, the sarong, the tanjak, the, you know, the black kind of clothing, the traditional clothing to put on? Maybe we can take some pictures and stuff like that. And I'd be like, no, this is what I wear to practice. And then it's kind of a bit hard for people to imagine, because, for example, you think about karate, you always imagine that white gi. You think about judo, you always imagine that white gi. You think about and for some arts, it is for Silat Tua, it is important during functions, during rituals and things like that. Like if I was doing a katam, if I was doing a test, you know, then it'd be important for me to wear something, okay? Because then we're talking about an actual ritual. But if I'm practicing the art, or if I'm learning the art, the most important thing is the art itself. It's not what I wear.
Yeah.
As long as it's comfortable enough for me to move in, then that's completely fine. So that was my aim, to just let people know that this was what.
So
Yeah.
like, let's say someone encounters your Facebook page or your event, what would you want them to know about it? Dark Matter Theatrics and
Dark
Silat
Matter
Tua.
Theatrics,
What
the
do you want
Collider.
to know? Yeah, what do you want them to know, or what do you want them to expect as they come in?
Oh,
Well, yeah, expectations.
what were their expectations? Well, that's a good question. What would I want them to expect? Some pain. I'd expect them to. I think it might be better to explain what they wouldn't expect, to be honest, because you talk about Silat, right? You already have a mindset of what Silat is. You know, people growing up know, you know, already if they don't know what Silat is, you just say martial art, or they're thinking like, you know, haya, that kind of thing, like chop some wood and things like that. But it involves so much more of your heart, your soul. Sorry. So putting in your imagination, putting in not just your body, which is why it can be very tiring, because you spend the whole time not only physically moving, but also engaging your mind, going, what element am I working on? You know, what style of movement? And so what I would love for people to come in expecting is just a workout of not just the body, but the mind and the heart as well.
I want to move on to your research, because when you do your collider sessions, it's about research, right?
Yeah. Well, right now it's about teaching. My collider sessions, my intention is to, it's a little bit selfish, but I mean, it's not like the students, participants aren't getting anything out of it, but is how I can transmit this knowledge in the most efficient way, so that the students are able to process, understand where I'm coming from, what this art is about, and use it. So that is my intention right now.
What are your findings?
So far, honestly I can't say,
It's
because
hard to articulate.
yeah, it is, because I'm running through instinct right now. That is how I teach. I teach through instinct. I plan it out and I teach through instinct, and then I'm going like, that was a bit weird. So tonight's session is going to be very, very similar to the session before, because I realized that in
first one?
Yeah, no, the one where you were there. That there was no point in me continuing and keep teaching more and more and more and more without first trying to perfect the first part, which is just, for example, the 8 weapons or the steps. You know, I need to be able to teach that well enough for people to understand it well enough and keep trying to perfect that. Because if I keep moving on, then I haven't fully developed the first part yet. So that is what I'm trying to do.
So, what are your future plans for the collider sessions with Silat Tua?
More of the same. I'm gonna keep developing it. I'm gonna keep trying to add the elements and things like that. Eventually, I want to do maybe a lecture series where I can just stand there and poke people's brains and tell them about this and what are the possibilities, and just kind of get people interested in an intellectual level. I hope to write more papers about it, maybe get published, and yeah, more of the same. I mean, this is the kind of thing where it's like, this is going to be my life's work. This is going to be something that I just have to keep prodding at, and there's so many aspects of it, and there's so many, you know, things I can get from it that I'll just have to keep at it. Yeah. And hopefully, as I go along, others will get interested, that I will have some sort of following, that I will have maybe a core group of people who are willing to train with me, who are also actors or who are also artists, who, you know, can help me develop it in that sense as well. So yeah, that is my hopes and dreams of the future. Thank you.
Yeah, wow.
That's lovely.
Oh yeah, so where can they find you? Or Dark Matter Theatrics or Silat Tua? There's a Facebook page for
Yeah,
Silat Tua.
Facebook page. There's a Facebook page for Silat Tua now, Collider Session. You can find us on Dark Matter Theatrics on Facebook as well. We're still fixing our website, so I know